Hey guys, what's up? This is Brian getting ready to head into the studio post-trail. Module 2, Part 2, Hero-ology, the study of a good hero. We're going to continue our discussion on anti-fragile confidence, heroic courage, and responsibility. We've got our Mastery Series core modules. Module 0, Introduction. Module 1, Eudaimonology, the study of a good soul. We went into Module 2, Hero-ology, where we talked about the rules of the game, anti-fragile confidence, heroic courage, responsibility, all of which were defined. We challenged you to make your choice, flip the switch, develop some heroic stamina, and eat a hero sandwich. This week, we're going to continue our exploration of how to create anti-fragile confidence, heroic courage, and responsibility. Basically trying to operationalize the wisdom from Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, etc. So we got to train like heroic warrior, philosopher, monks, whatever metaphor you want to use. We need to move from theory to practice to mastery. Today, that's the big idea. Number 1, we're going to focus on stocking up our arsenals, our armamentarium of tools, weapons, and provisions. We need to have them ready at hand so we can use them when we face our inevitable challenges. That's our first idea. Practice your philosophy. Emphasis on your. What are your highest ideals? Rock 'em. Then we're going to step back and kind of approach this like a hero's training, basic training camp. First, we're going to get some basic orienteering skills under our belts. We're going to get perspective, time and space, and realize, you know what? None of this is that big of a deal. Really fun exercise on time and space. Looking at the Earth relative to the Sun, relative to the Milky Way, relative to thousands, millions, trillions of Milky Ways. Crazy. Get perspective. Third idea is going to be how to make a compass. The points of our compass will be our core. Thank you. I owe some burpees. Our core virtues, wisdom, self-mastery, courage, and love. And then we've got our ancillary top 5 virtues encompassed in that compass as well. But the real theme here is going to be, look, we need to make a distinction between being a perfectionist and being an optimalist. We need to have our ideals become guiding stars rather than have them as distant shores. Keep the high standards, science says, Tal Ben-Shahar tells us, but embrace reality. That's how you make a compass. That'll be fun. And then we're going to talk about how to make, we're going to go from basic orienteering to suffering well and also healing any potential wounds we may have as we get the right orientation and face inevitable obstacles. How to make a healing balm. Well, first, we need to remember there are no perfect human beings. Thank you, Abraham Maslow. And you and I won't be the first. We talk about it a lot. Self-compassion is our healing balm here. We're going to look at the science of self-compassion. Number 1, 2, and 3. Common humanity. You're not alone. Kindness. Be nice to yourself. And 3, mindfulness. We're going to read that Mr. Rogers' little blurb on his challenges creating. We had a coaching session with Cal Newport, who joined and mentored our coaches. Let's see if I can grab that. And for those who were there, you may have noticed in the background, he had a framed Mr. Rogers thing that we sent to him. I sent to him. Mr. Rogers, am I kidding myself that I'm able to write a script again? Am I really just whistling Dixie? I wonder. If I don't get down to it, I'll never really know. Why can't I trust myself? Mr. Rogers says. Really, that's what it's all about. That and not wanting to go through the agony of creation. After all these years, he says, it's just as bad as ever. You notice that? All caps. I wonder if every creative artist goes through the tortures of the day I'm trying to create. Oh well, the hour cometh and now is when I've got to do it. Get to it, Fred. Get to it, all caps. But don't let anybody ever tell anybody else that it was easy. It wasn't. April 1979. He was almost 50 years old. He'd been doing this for over a decade. And here he is, still challenging. Then he says, hey, it wasn't easy, but it was great. This I must remember. Powerful stuff. Cal and I talked about that. Sent him, he liked it. Sent him the framed version of that. The point here is common humanity. You're not alone. You're struggling, you're suffering. Well, come on, that's a reverse indicator. You're on the path. Have self-compassion for yourself by recognizing nothing's wrong with you per se. It's the common human experience. Then be nice to yourself, be mindful, etc. Healing balm. Then we're going to learn how to make a hero pill, aka an aspirin. Suffer well. we're going to talk about the importance of accepting our current reality. If suffering equals pain times resistance, which is another Kristen Neff idea, who brought us the science of self-compassion, or in fact, suffering equals pain to the resistance power. It's an exponential, not a multiplicative thing, right? The more you resist what's happening in your life, the more you suffer, right? Well, if that's the case, then E equals O, that's the mathematical symbol for eating, P plus 1 to the infinity. We're going to talk about this equation. Eudaimonia equals Optimus eating whatever pain you are experiencing, plus 1, you take action, 4 evs. As Joseph Campbell says, the demon you swallow gives you its power. You got to accept what is, love what is, then use it all as fuel. That's going to be our hero pill concoction. Then number 6, we're going to have fun making a secret weapon, a magic wand. Hermes, the ancient mythical god Epictetus talked about, he had a magical wand. A lot of people said that it could turn anything into gold. Epictetus says, no. It can turn anything into awesome. We need to learn how to alchemize versus catastrophize. We use whatever life gives us, again, as fuel for our growth. We need to see everything as a challenge versus a threat. This is a big idea we'll talk more about next week. Then we'll talk about some Harry Potter wisdom. This Hermes magical wand is similar to the Philosopher's Stone, which is said to be able to turn a base metal into gold. But really, what the Philosopher's Stone did was turn anything into a positive, right? When you have the right mindset, you can use anything for fuel. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is what they called it, but it was really the Philosopher's Stone. We'll talk about that. 7th big idea, how to make a hero fire. You go out on this heroic quest. Here are some tools you need, right? You want to have your armamentarium properly stocked. You got the perspective, you got a compass, you got a healing balm, you got a hero pill, you got your weapon, and then you need to get some fire. How do you start a fire? Well, we're going to talk about the 1, 2, 3 process inspired by a number of teachers, including Lanny Basham, with Winning in Mind, Olympic gold medalist, who will be joining us at Optimize 2020, which is pretty fun. 1, 2, 3. What was awesome? When something goes wrong, you ask yourself, well, what was awesome? You don't start with the problem. What was awesome? Then you say, what needs a little work? Then you say, how will we optimize? It's almost like this is the match. What was awesome? Then you've got the wood, the fuel that you're going to use, which is what needs work. And then you strike that match on something gritty, which we're going to talk about next week as well, the science of grit. How will we optimize? What will we do differently? That's how you use it all as fuel and create a hero fire. Let there be light. We win or we learn. 7th big idea. 8th, how to make pearls. I actually already buried my pearl away so I can take it to the office, but I carry a pearl around to remind myself that everything, that we want in life, you look at this gem, it's such a perfect metaphor, right? Step 1, irritant to making a pearl. Step 2, you apply what they call nacre. You use a tool on your irritant to get a little bit better. You do that over and over and over and over and over again. And what do you get? You get luminescence. Then you use these pearls to trade for supplies on your heroic quest. The 9th idea is how to make a hope map. So you want a map of the terrain? Well, there are 3 steps according to science. You need to have a goal, you need to have a sense of agency, you need to have pathways. We're going to keep on coming back to this idea again and again and again. Just did another note on the science of virtue. Happy people are hopeful. Hopeful people are happy. It's really that simple. We're going to add a 0. You got to accept and love and be grateful for whatever's going on in your life right now. Then you walk through this process. Then you take action infinitely. What's important now? What's important now? But we're going to focus on the best selves diary here. Get a vision for who you are and who you're aspiring to be. We're actually going to call this our V1 Hope Map. In the next session, next week, we're going to make this a V2 Hope Map by applying some whoop to it. But we'll start here and build some confidence by doing what's important now. Then the 10th idea, we ended our last session making a hero sandwich. You got to eat your virtues. Well, this time we're going to learn how to make hero bars and quit eating idiot bars. Basic idea here is we're going to look at our top 3 things we're most proud of in our lives, right? But we're going to see that all of those things we're most proud of came with a ton of challenges. We had to overcome challenges. Oopses became yeses. We're going to talk about changing our scars into medals. We're going to talk about one of my prior investors and mentors, a billionaire who, I'll tell you how he introduced me to a group of potential investors in Aspen back in the day. But we're going to think about that. We're going to make some hero bars, quit eating the idiot bars as we continue our study of a good hero in Hero-ology, cultivate our anti-fragile confidence, heroic courage, response ability, training like warriors, philosophers, monks, and stocking up our arsenals. Or if you prefer, the Optimize Depot of tools, weapons, provisions for our heroes' quests. Look forward to seeing you there. As always, this is part of our Mastery series. Go to optimize.me and you can sign up for the 2-week free trial, etc., etc., etc. Get access to this series, year-long course, basically. The Philosopher's Notes, over 500 of them. 50 other classes we have. Optimal Living 101 classes and a bunch of Optimize Plus ones. There you go. Let's do this.